left-hand side of your legs and pelvis. And first of all, notice which side of the pelvis comes off the floor. And then notice which leg lifts more off the floor, the left or the right. And I don't mean hoik it up in the air, but notice one leg starts to lose its contact with the floor. Which is it? It's most likely the right. Would you agree? Yeah. So now, as your hands are over there and as you're leaning on your hands, could you please explore where can you take that right leg? And come back. Just do that. So once again, mouse tactic. Be a mouse. Hello, boys and girls. As a migrant child, when we first arrived in Australia, of course, we did what most migrants do. We splurged on a television, didn't we? And guess what the child did most of the time? Watch television. Why? Because the parents were both out working. So my babysitter was the TV. And yes, I watched the Mickey Mouse Club. So that's why you got that funny little squeaky voice. Hello, boys and girls. Because that's how it used to happen, right? Now, bring your legs to the front again, and this time don't lean on your hands. Don't lean on your hands. Just have your hands somewhere, anywhere but leaning on the floor. And go to do that movement with your right leg again. And notice where your hands go anyway. You know, there is a part of us that's very reflexive. We will put our hands out if we think we're going to fall, and we're usually pretty good at guessing where to put the hands without thinking. Okay, now please explore the same idea but to the other side. So intentionally lean on your hands to the right, which then frees up your left leg, and take the left leg around to the left and bring it back again, around to the left and bring it back again. And notice how far behind you can you get that left leg. Notice that I haven't said anything about the right leg, and that's intentional. I haven't said anything about the right leg because you might discover that you can do something with the right leg that could help the left leg get around even further. Ah, look, some clever people. Just to the left and back again. Yeah, so if you're putting your hands to the right, you take your left leg around to the left. That's okay. Yeah. Don't look at me like that, like, oh, the teacher's looking, I better do it. Don't do that. The teacher's always looking. When you're resting and when you're doing it, it's okay. Yeah? That's okay. You're allowed to tune out. This is the fourth lesson in the day. You're allowed to tune out. All right, let that be and rest on your back, please. Okay, now, could you lie on your front with the top of your head directed towards the front of the room where the whiteboard is? So lie on your tummy and have the top of your head towards the front of the room. And please put the palms of your hands on the floor to either side of you and have your elbows up in the air. And that's just the starting position. That's just to give yourself a place to start from. And now think of taking that right leg further around to the left. And to go further around to the left, think of taking it underneath your left leg. Oh, underneath your left leg. Underneath your left leg. Your left leg. So the right leg goes to the left, but underneath your left leg. That's underneath. Okay. And in the process of doing that, see if you can come up to sit facing the front of the room. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And you can squiggle on back to your tummy any way you like. Now, that starting position of your hands, you can actually use your hands to gain a little bit of momentum so that you gather a bit of a swing, and that swing can carry you up to sitting. But that right leg goes underneath the left leg. That's it. Wee, hello. Now you know why you needed space, yes? You all right? Take it easy. All right. Now, stop a moment and rest. Stop a moment and rest. Now, most of these things that you're exploring now in this particular lesson, infants discover all by their little old lonesome selves if they're the first child. If they're the second child and the two births are very close to each other, then one infant learns a lot quicker because there's someone to look at doing this stuff. So without instruction, infants start to discover all these various movements that you intentionally do in a very constructed kind of a way in awareness through movement. Which, by the way, it could be that some of you never did them in the first place, even as babies. Please return to lying on your tummy with the top of your head facing the front of the room. Put your hands in that same position with the palms on the floor, the elbows in the air. Lift both legs from the floor so that you end up resting on your tummy and your belly, and then use your hands to swivel yourself so that the legs go a little bit left and a little bit right. A little bit, the legs are long, the legs are long, the legs are long. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And then if you develop enough momentum, you can swing the legs around to the left until you end up sitting facing the front of the room. There we are. And now to go back, you just lean your hands to the right and you take your leg behind you, and there you go again. There we are, one complete circle. And you can go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Yeah, so the hands, oh, you want to go that way? That's fine. Yeah. Oh, some of you have decided that you want to complete the circle. Excellent. That's okay. I saw your feet go around in a complete circle. Now, the legs are long. If I haven't said that, I'm saying it now. The legs stay long, more or less. And some of you are taking your feet all the way around in a circle. Yeah? Rest a little bit, please. Rest a little bit. Probably a good time for a little story. I remember the time when we were asked to do this lesson in our training program. And there was 120 of us in that room. We were in a basketball court over at Mont Albert Lake. Anyway, I heard the description. I heard what was asked for. And I thought, you know what? This would be much easier to do if I started sitting up. So I did. But when I sat up, I looked across the room and no one else was sitting up. And at that moment, I literally shrunk inside like I'd made the biggest mistake in my life. And guess what the next instruction was? Please come to sit up with your legs out in front of you. So there's something about when you're doing these lessons, you should go with what you feel is appropriate for you at the time and not shrink away from that. Even though everybody else in the room is doing completely something different, that's fine. You can trust that the person facilitating will let you know if that's not an appropriate course of action, really. So you are free to explore according to your understanding of the time. And you know, if no one was like that, if everybody was just doing what everybody else did, there would be no artists, there would be no scientists, there would be no creation in the world, because guess what? Everybody's doing the same thing. So do with what you feel you need to do, and you can rest assured that you'll be guided if you're doing something that will take you in a different direction. It's okay. Please return to lying on your tummy. Have your hands, palms on the floor, elbows in the air. And this time, take your left leg underneath your right leg. And because you've already done this to the other side, you can, there we go. And up you come. There we go. Nice. And yes, it's a bit lumpy to start with, but so is a cake mixture. Sorry about that. Yeah, but so is a cake mixture. You just keep stirring it, it becomes smoother and smoother, and everything is fine. Not only that, the cake tastes wonderful at the end. So keep on. Are you okay with that? Yeah, okay. Now you already know that you are free to use the power available to you with your arms. So the combination of the use of the arms, the swing of the leg, and the clarity And here's the really important point, the clarity about where you're going. The intent is to come up to sit facing the front of the room. That's a very clear direction. I wonder how many of you can keep your face on the horizon as you do this. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. That's really nice, Philippa. That's nice. I think it might have something to do with your history. It is possible. So what I told you this morning is not a fib. You know, we have a design in us where it is possible for the head to always be oriented towards a horizon. So see if you can make a complete circle with the legs. So you start on your tummy, you come up to sit, and you just continue on around until you end up on your tummy again. You can catch yourself with your hands. Beautiful. That's it. Oh, man. I think you've got a friction problem there. No, not because of that, because of the sticky mats. They're useless. No. Matter of fact, here's a suggestion. For those of you, when you make that circle, for those of you who feel that you don't just stay on one side of your pelvis, that you actually roll all the way around so that not one part is always in contact, do this movement on the slippery floor without a mat, and you'll feel how little power you need to get around. Yeah? Because friction makes a big difference. And I'm only saying for those of you who feel that you're not resting just on one side, because if you are, you'll just end up with a big hematoma. You'll just get you'll get a big bruise, and it won't feel nice, and then you'll blame me tomorrow and I won't like it. So yeah, that's it. So on a moment, you're on your sit bones. On a moment, you're on the left side of the pelvis. On the moment, yeah, it's nice. There we go. And it's hardly anything. That's it. Yeah, look, see? You okay? Was that a surprise? No, what was that? Lumpy! Don't worry, keep stirring the cake. But yeah. All right. Let it be. Rest. Rest, 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 rest. Now, sometimes you have to excuse me. I forget what I have said and what I haven't said. So in case you've heard this before, pretend that it's new. In the field of movement science, which is a relatively new field, I mean, it only started up 30 years ago or so, they found that when anybody is learning a new movement skill, basically they throw everything they have at it. In other words, they over-muscle it. Even skilled athletes, when they first start to do something that is outside of their skill set, too much. And then what happens over the course of time, things get pared back until, for those who are really got a good coach and are really fine-tuned in their sensitivity, they've pared it back to the absolute minimum. They just do what's necessary and nothing else. And not so what that allows them to do is not to waste energy. They don't waste energy. And they also minimize wear and tear. So they're the athletes that have the longevity. And we like to say that they're naturals, but really what they are is they have a very good coach, and they start off with an advantage in terms of they can feel differences. Now, you and I are just like them. We start off throwing everything we have at it, and then over time we refine it. The cake gets less lumpy. And you know, for those of you who have made cakes, you know, when you first start to stir with the spoon, it feels heavy. It kind of feels congealed. You kind of really have to muscle it to stir it around. And then as it becomes smoother, it's easier to move the spoon around. Same thing here. Come up to sitting, please, facing the front of the room. That was nice. Oh, don't make that. That was nice. Notice that you came up to sitting in the pattern, though. You didn't choose a different way. You mentally did that. Good, good, good. So now, please, once take your hands to the right, take your legs to the left, then switch over. Take your hands to the left, bring your legs to the right. So really, you're only doing a semicircle that's in front of you. And so it's a little bit like a duo between the legs and the arms. The arms help a little bit, then the legs help a little bit, then the arms help a little bit, and the legs. And you can just lightly catch yourself and push off, and lightly catch yourself and push off, and lightly catch yourself and push off. That's it. That's enough. Stop. Stop. So that's the equivalent of what you just did lying on your tummy, where you used your hands, you gathered momentum, and you pushed off. You just did it sitting, just with the catching and the falling of your weight. So now from this sitting position, could you do one complete circle and come back to sitting? No. And the answer is clearly no. So there you don't do it. Okay, off you go. One complete sitting, one complete circle with the feet and come up to sitting. What? No, just make a circle with the feet around yourself. Is that a bathroom sink? Is it a cake thing? Is it a sink thing? What is that? You'll have so many metaphors so far, you'll get confused. I better shut up. Now, you see what you're doing? You're constantly spinning on one side of your pelvis. Spin in such a way that at every different moment, you're on a different part of the pelvis. That's like having the pelvis as a ball. You're having the pelvis like a plate. Oh, I did another metaphor, sorry. So there'll be a moment when the front of your pelvis is contacting the floor. There'll be a moment when the side of your pelvis is contacting the floor, the back of your pelvis. I thought you said no. What happened? Okay. All right. Now, those of you who still got a bit of oomph in you, you know how I said keep your legs long? Maybe if you start thinking that there's a moment when the legs can be long and then there's a moment that the legs can be drawn in, that would help you go faster. Remember when you were circling the arm and there was something about if you straightened the legs just at the right time, the arm would go, whew, whew. Maybe there's something similar here. Yeah, look at that. Trust your arms. They'll be there to catch you. That's it. Nice, 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 nice. And this is where all that pelvic stuff comes in really useful. Because you've learned how to flex and you've learned how to extend, and now you can do rap dancing. Well, that certainly is taking your legs all the way around you. And it is certainly keeping your pelvis and all that. So how can I disagree? Keep doing. That's great. Yeah, nice. And I think it's amazing that street kids came up with all these moves, right? Not any training. On the pavement, if you like. Amazing stuff. Yeah, no mats, no rubber, pavement, hard stuff, car park, concrete. So that really is the learning of hard knocks. You quickly learn to avoid how to bruise yourself. Yeah. Yeah, even a bit of cardboard is better than straight onto concrete, right? But compared to mats and carpet, incredible. And so if you think now of Feldenkrais's background in judo, you know, they don't have those, when you go into jiu-jitsu studios these days, they have those nice gushy blue mats that are quite spongy, and you slam into those and it's kind of okay. Oh, no. Tatami, a little bit firmer, but the test, and you'll read this in Feldenkrais's book, the test of a good judo person is, can they be thrown onto a hard floor and not end up bruised? Because they know how to roll out of it, which is exactly what you're doing now. So the test is, can you do judo on a hard floor and not end up injured? Not bad. And the answer, of course, is yes, up to a point. So I think we've reached the up to a point moment, and it's time to finish. Okay? So please stand up, walk around a little bit, notice what you can carry over having done this lesson. So before lunch, it was Hawaii. Now, where are you?